You're now listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.
Hello, Rockies. This is Sarah Jane Maroney, your host, and welcome to the second full week of May in 2025. First up is the PPLD. Board president of the PPLD, Dora Gonzalez, term ended in the end of December, and right away applications were asked for in September and November prior to that December ending of her term. However, county and city attorneys realized that when the liaison board, which is made up of 2 county commissioners and 2 city council people, then that if they met without having a public hearing, then it is a violation of the Colorado Sunshine Laws. So they approached the Colorado liaison to the PPLD, those 2 commissioners and 2 council people, and they chose to do individual interviews as opposed to holding an interview where everybody is watching, which is probably a nicer thing to do. 2 city council people, City Councilwoman Lynette Crowe-Iverson and City Councilwoman Nancy Henjum, have interviewed 4 candidates, and then said at a later meeting that they were going for a second round with 2 different candidates. And then with the commissioners, it's unclear. Commissioner Williams seemed to have interviewed 7, and then Commissioner Geithner only 3. Entirely possible that all 7 candidates that Commissioner Williams interviewed, she then forwarded the 3 candidates onto Commissioner Geithner. However, because of the Colorado Sunshine Laws Possible Violations Act, with the board liaison team of the 2 councilwomen and the 2 commissioners, it's just gotten as clear as mud. I'm sure there's a logical process to this, and hopefully soon enough we will hear the announcement of who the new board president for the PPLD is. Further afield, in Teller County, the county commissioners have sent a letter to Trump's DOJ supporting the lawsuit that Trump has launched against Colorado, but also asking for leniency in funding themselves because they don't wish that their federal funds as a rural county would be withheld. It's unlikely that if those federal funds are withheld, that Teller is going to get federal funds and not some other counties. However, the county commissioners have written this letter stating that they're approving of the lawsuit against Colorado, but have expressed how much that they have worked with ICE and that they really don't want to be penalized for the rest of the viewpoints of the Colorado legislature. Of course, Governor Polis reasserted that Colorado was not a sanctuary city, but his office did not comment on the letter that Teller County has sent. Park County was reached out to, and Commissioner Amy Mitchell did confirm that they are drafting a similar letter of redress with the grievances. El Paso, another county that is obviously a conservative stronghold, has said that they are aware of Teller's letter and are actively monitoring the situation. 4 new council members have joined the Colorado Springs City Council. 6 of them were sworn in, 2 for a second term quite recently. And one of their first actions was a resolution proposed by new council member Roland Rainey. And this is similar to a resolution that was passed in February and September of 2024, stating that Colorado Springs is not a sanctuary city. There was some pushback from various parts saying that this seemed like a duplicate measure or a redundant thing. However, they cited that recently the working of the CSPD with Drug Enforcement Administration's ICE after that 27th of April nightclub raid, that this was a very important thing to restate with the new council in place. Colorado Springs Mayor Yemi Boldy holds a monthly press conference. And in this particular press conference, he was talking about the raid and highlighted the success of the red light cameras in the city and the drone responder program recently launched, as well as wildfire mitigation town halls by the CSPD. But was most interesting, he began the press conference saying that the police department had sworn in 800 officers in the past month, and it is closest that has been in a long time to the currently authorized capacity of 839 officers. Of course, 1 retired, and so they're back down to 799. But Police Chief Adrian Vasquez said that the shift to a continual hiring process and multiple training academies per year has helped bring in new officers and other employees. and that the departments are also working to retain officers. Previously reported on House Bill 1291. This is about rideshare companies and what they're required. It looked like Uber was going to leave Colorado, but then with these amendments, it looked like they were going to stay. However, Lyft, another rideshare group, are putting pressure on Governor Polis to not sign this bill. Lyft's chief policy officer wrote to Governor Polis and said, quote, "We believe it will be better to veto this bill and pursue more effective avenues for enhancing safety rather than enacting a law that ultimately harms those it seeks to protect," end quote. We'll see if Governor Polis is going to sign 1291. Thomas Cushing, 26, was arrested on the 22nd of November, and he faces one count of sexual assault, according to court records. This is particularly interesting because he used to work in the El Paso Public Defender's Office and is accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old, and it was stated that he believed that she was 18. And has pleaded not guilty. His attorney told the court that the not guilty plea was entered in order to continue negotiations with the prosecution. The trial is set for late September unless a plea agreement is reached prior to that. On Tuesday, May 13th, multiple law enforcement agencies cleared out a homeless encampment beneath I-25 and near Woodman Road. Televisions, lighting, stereo equipment were found as they had illegally tapped into the I-25 light poles. According to a press release sent out by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, their agency teamed up with CDOT and CSPD to help. Many notices were put up in advance, posting the occupants that they needed to leave, and resources were offered. And when the deputies arrived, only one person agreed to leave voluntarily. Later on, cleanup crews also discovered several tons of debris, 20 shopping carts, numerous bicycle frames, and a large amount of drug paraphernalia. On Friday, a judge denied a motion to dismiss a case that will move forward and ultimately be heard by a jury. 3 people were indicted after allegedly staging a hate crime in order to help then mayoral candidate Yemi Mobolde win his election. Court records show that Bernard, one of the defendants, communicated with Mayor Mobolde prior to alleging the hoax, although Mayor Mobolde has vehemently denied any knowledge or involvement. Earlier in February, 2 of the defendants filed motions to dismiss on the grounds of First Amendment violations and argued that there was never a true threat and that their staging was a protected political speech, and the judge denied both of those motions. And Mayor Mobolde will be testifying in the case on May 19th. And those are the top stories for the second full week in May in 2025. Please remember to like and subscribe and sign up for our newsletters. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.